Internet stuff for sure.
Yeah.
What do we? How you doing?
I'm great.
It's almost time.
It's almost time.
What, 1 week?
Yeah, 1 week from today.
1 week from today. MPAC. So that's an all day thing, right? From what I can tell. I feel like, well, when I say all day, I mean like you guys are busy all day long.
Oh, absolutely,
Like
yeah.
putting this together, huh?
Yeah, well, I mean, look, the planning starts right after the one last year ended. So,
Really?
oh yeah. So we take a couple of days off and say like, okay, then we have a debrief. What are we doing next year? Contacting sponsors, contacting volunteers and people that purchase tickets and reminding them about, hey, this is, an annual thing that we're doing.
Really? So when you say y'all start planning, it's really just looking at the previous year, what just happened. It's just like, how can we make it better?
Yeah, we do a debrief. What worked, what didn't work. What do we want to do next year, and maybe enhance the things that did work.
Yeah.
Obviously the goal is to sell tickets, raise money, create awareness for the organization. So, how do we achieve that? Make it bigger and badder, so that 5-6 years down the road, this is a something people look forward to every year.
Right. I mean, I look forward to it every year. It's the one thing that I really mark off on my calendar for January. Is like, all right, MPAC is this day. I need to make sure that I'm good. Got a nice fit.
Yeah.
I've already been shopping. You know what I'm saying? Because we weren't sure if my wife and I were going to come, but that's our anniversary day. So
Oh,
we
wow.
gotta come. And then I'm working on that painting for the letters too.
I don't know, man. Y'all's costumes to the Lamar Christmas party was
Pretty dope, huh?
Was pretty killer. They show up as Harry and
What'd you
Lloyd
wear?
from Home Alone.
From Home Alone.
Mike got the feathers coming out of his cap.
Yeah,
You have a
man.
photo of
With
this?
Oh yeah, we got pictures.
He's
need
got
to see
fake
this.
pry bars.
Oh
man, it was-
the curly, the sticky bandages, and then we saw the pizza guy. One of the guys was dressed up as the pizza guy, so we got pictures of that too from the movie. So yeah, man, I'm excited about it, man. I love a good theme, and this is what Hollywood.
Hollywood, yeah. And that's what the people on social media wanted to see. What better way to pick a theme than to ask everybody on social media? And so with a couple hundred responses, the overwhelming response was Hollywood.
Because I think Hollywood is good because you can go really far with where you want. You can go in the past,
Right.
You can go futuristic. You can go now. You can go celebrity.
Right.
You can just dress up and be like, I'm Hollywood. I think
Look,
that's what we can do.
I got two friends that sent me a picture, and they said, "Hey, can we wear this?" And it's a big wooden sign. One of them is Hall, and one of them is Oats. So they're going to be Hall and Oats.
Hey, that's dope.
But that's the cool part about it, not being a formal,
Yeah.
black tie type of event. Get creative, like wear something.
Right. But it's
That
like
expresses
Hollywood. You can go black tie, or
Yeah.
you can go Hall
Yeah.
and Oats.
Yeah.
A box of oats and a
I'm trying to find a gold tuxedo right now. You know how hard
Yeah,
that is to find a gold tuxedo?
I've looked for one.
Who you gonna be?
Huh?
Who are you dressing up as?
An Oscar.
A dude in a gold tuxedo. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I like that.
Oscar. That'd be dope.
I like that. 1
That
point
is
for
cool.
Mike.
There you go.
That is cool. That is cool. Most people, when they think of Impact, do you think they think of it as just a party, or are they considering it programming that actually helps fund and further what the Arts Council
Well,
is doing?
I think everybody thinks of it as a party, and that's what it is. But the underlying goal of it is to raise awareness for arts in our community. Because let's be honest, we have a really robust artistic community here, especially with New Orleans and Lafayette, so close. I think once they see it as a party, and then when they get here and they say, "Oh wow, there's a lot of really cool artistic components of this," and then maybe that changes their mind once they get here.
Yeah, I think it's definitely every year has been that big advocacy portion to it too. Like it's a big fundraiser, but it's also an opportunity when people. Because for me, the first year, I didn't realize like shutting down the whole block. Like it's one thing to have the building full with people, but it's like the whole block is shut down, stage.
Right.
So it's like you have this concert atmosphere. So it is a big party, but it's like it's more than just we're just showing up and grabbing some food and drink. It's usually
Correct.
very entertaining and typically a little cold. But you know,
Man, I just looked at the weather. I know it's going to change 15 times before Friday.
oh yeah, it'll be hot tomorrow.
Hell, it may change that day.
It will change that day, but earlier when I looked, it was going to be a high of 70 and a low of 61.
Oh no, that's good.
It's gonna snow.
I'll take that. It's
That's
going what?
good.
It's gonna snow. Watch.
Well, the first year we did it here, it was so cold. I think it actually started to sleet. You remember that?
I remember.
Yeah, man, it was. Whew, it was
It
rough.
was packed in here too, because I remember this. I mean, this wasn't even that old. It was a couple.
No, it was kind of our big like grand opening.
It was. Yeah,
type
it
thing,
ended up
yeah.
being the grand opening because I don't think it was gonna. I think you guys were gonna have a grand opening. I think closer to when y'all actually started. in the
Correct, but we
office.
were still dealing with COVID. Yep.
COVID, man. You always gotta add that footnote in, huh?
Yeah.
This
I feel like we
happened.
still.
All of this happened during COVID.
Well, so to give you a little
Let's go
history,
back.
yeah. So the Arts Council in January historically had an event called Lollapalooza, and then it was changed to Laurel Street Palooza, and it was a big fundraiser.
Really?
Yeah, it
I
was
didn't know that's what that was.
yeah, and it was
I saw
it was at the old Bogan Fire Museum.
Mm-hmm.
We would have probably between, I'd say probably 100 to 150 silent auction items, and it was old school. It was paper, pen, you know, and you see somebody walking, they're like, oh, they're gonna go bid on my piece, and then you walk over behind them, and you it always took. There was always a flash mob. We had a lot of food vendors that were in. Remember the koi pond in the Chase Tower? So there were a lot of food vendors in there, and it was exactly what this is. It was a fundraiser for the Arts Council. We stopped doing Laurel Street Palooza, and MPAC was originally created by 225 magazine.
Really?
And it was the Wear All White party at the Shaw Center. Mercedes was a big sponsor. And then they would, and again, another fundraiser. And then 225 gave it to the Arts Council. And we did it one year at the Shaw Center, and it was a huge undertaking. It was wildly successful. But then once we started with the planning of, you know, moving over to the new building and everything, we said, let's put it on hold. But what a great way to welcome everybody to the new building with a cool event called like MPAC. So that's where MPAC kind of replaced what was Laurel Street Palooza.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Are there going to be any auctions this year?
not this year.
Okay, because I know typically there are, and I know there's always a flash mob.
Right.
So even if you tell me there's not going to be a flash mob, I feel like there still might be a flash mob.
Yeah,
I'll see if I see anybody practicing in here.
we'll see. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. We've been here every day. I haven't seen it.
Well, I mean, we're still a week away, so you never know.
You never know. Flash mobs always weird me out, man.
But they're so cool, and I don't want people to expect it, but I also want that that anticipation of like what's going to happen next.
See, I have anxiety. So I've been in downtown New Orleans before, and I've seen a flash mob starting, and I had no idea what was happening. And I was like, why is random people doing? And it was freaking me out. It's fun once it's going.
Wait, you don't like crowds?
No, I don't like crowds, man.
You're from New
I'm an
Orleans.
artist.
Right.
I'm an artist from New Orleans. I can paint what I see. I love people. But like being in crowds, I have to like bide my time. my battery goes down quick. You know, but that's just, you know, I feel like most artists, especially painters, are very in their little corners, you know?
Yeah.
So, but flash mobs, I have to knowing last year that I saw him practicing made me feel a lot better. I was like, okay, I know what's
coming. Well, hey, I mean, I'm the same way. I like to plan. I like to know what's coming and
right.
have my day kind of ironed out.
No, I'm not gonna go that far yet. My days are usually just as they come.
I mean, mine's a little bit of both. When my wife and I travel, I want to know what time we're leaving the house. I want to know what time we're going to get to the airport. I got to know because I got to stay on a schedule, you know?
I feel that.
Yeah.
You got to be a little organized to run a whole organization like the Arts Council, huh?
Yeah, a little organized, but a little bit of organized chaos, right?
Organized chaos, yeah. Because I mean, it is a creative entity where, you know, and I say this a lot. What I love about the Arts Council in particular is a lot of what you guys do isn't just, all right, we're doing this is the same exact way every single time because it worked this way and we're not changing anything. It's a lot of, we're going to keep the same ideas that work, but then we also want to grow and bring in fresh ideas, bring in fresh faces a lot of times. And that just keeps everything that you guys do more welcoming too. Whereas like it's not this thing that only one person does. It only has like a certain amount of people that do it every single time.
Right.
We don't know anything about it. It's very inclusive. So
Yeah, I mean, and it keeps it fresh for the community. It keeps
100%.
people, again, anticipation, what's coming, what's next, what's the new initiative. I mean, because we're all creatives, we gotta stay on top of what's popular right now.
True.
I feel like that's the same thing musically, you know. Just because I'm a musician, we're always trying to figure out like what's the latest and greatest, where are the trends going, and we have to stay relevant with the times, or else we're not going to be relevant anymore.
That's true with music, huh? Like you do have to, because music is very like in the now, and even like you can go back maybe a decade and it becomes fresh again.
Yeah.
But if you in 2013 playing music that sounds like it's from 2006, it's kind of like,
Y'all still playing that?
Yeah, if you playing stuff from 2013 today, it's like, that sounds like 2013.
Well, I was talking to a buddy of mine the other day. We were talking about how I think "Don't Stop Believing" by Journey is 40 years old.
Really?
Think about that.
How many times have that been played?
Too many.
Wait. and drumming.
Too many times.
So I had a question.
Yeah.
So like, you're a drummer, right? So do you just play the drums, and what does that mean when you say like, when you tell people I'm a drummer, like, and they ask you what do you do? Like, what do you usually say at that point?
Well, he says he's the CEO of the Arts Council.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I feel
I'm
like
a drumming CEO. How about that? Well, come on.
It's like I feel like people approach you as, oh, you're a CEO, and they go down that road. It's like you're a really great drummer, and I feel like that is the more interesting part of JG is when I see you get behind those drums. So like, what inspires you as a drummer particularly?
I mean, just my love for music. That's why I still work here at the Arts Council, and I'm blessed to have this opportunity. But both my parents are musicians. They taught at LSU for 30 plus years. I just grew up in a musical family, and my dad plays bass and does a lot of orchestral arranging, and then my mom plays piano. And so it's like, well, how do we round this out? Drums.
What's the loudest thing that I can
Yes, exactly. And so it's really just the passion for the art, and I've learned so much working here about visual art, about performance art, movement art, poetry, all that's culinary art. I would have never thought that culinary is an art form, but it very much is.
Yeah. Serious one too.
Yeah, so I've actually been a drummer longer than I've been a drummer since I was 6.
I was about to ask you.
Oh, wow.
6? 6 is that magic number, man.
Yeah,
I've been
well,
drumming
I say
since I was
5. I
6.
say 5 or 6. I started banging on all my metal Tonka trucks when I was around that age when I got a pair of drumsticks. And so I went through. My parents made me learn piano, and I needed to do better at playing piano because piano is the foundation for everything.
So you can play a little bit?
I can pick out stuff,
Okay.
but I can't read music. I can read drum set music. In middle school, I played trombone. That went real quick. And then my dad wanted me to do. I wanted to play drums.
I feel that.
So he said, "You can do both," and I said, "No, I don't want to do both. I just want to play drums." So we did. He made me do, orchestral percussion, learning my rudiments, learning how to read music, doing melodic percussion because that, a xylophone or marimba is literally laid out the same way as a piano. So if you can play piano, you can play marimba or xylophone, bells. Yeah, it's all.
If you can play piano, pretty much you could pick up any
You can pick up almost
pretty
anything.
easily.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to learn the embouchure and the fingerings and different things like that. But yeah, if you learn music theory, it's only 12 notes.
My dad says that.
Right. It's all you know so
He said,
far.
once you learn how to read music, he's like, you pretty much can play. It's the same thing with drawing. Once you learn how to draw, painting, sculpt, all that becomes like that's the foundation, like what you said. Like once you learn that part, line, form, then you can almost do anything. It's just
Well, and drummers need to know music theory as well. I wish I knew better music theory because it would just make me a better musician.
Did you study music in university? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I was music, undergrad, general studies. It was a lot of different things in
You
college.
got
Where'd
the
you-
drumline story.
Where you went to Southern?
No, I went to LSU.
I'm talking about the movie Drumline.
Oh, okay,
Didn't
gotcha.
want to read the music, but could
But could
play.
play.
Oh, you want to battle for first for what is it?
PP1?
P1?
That's a good movie, bro.
That's a great movie.
Good movie, man.
That's a great movie.
When
Man.
you said drumline, I thought he was like in KK side.
Nah, man. Was it Nick Cannon?
Yep,
Great movie, bro.
that's
Yeah,
a
it's
great
a good
movie.
Great. I need to go back. I'm gonna have my son watch it. That's a good movie.
I know what you're doing tonight. Watching Drumline.
Yeah, well, that's what-
Yeah, he needs to watch some Drumline.
Yes, he does.
Get those.
No, that's really fascinating. Do you think you being like your position here kind of helps or influences anything new that you try with the band or as a musician, and vice versa?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So we, just being that we are in so prime example, the band that I play with, what's popular right now? What's the most popular app right now?
Drill music.
Oh, popular.
No,
Oh,
what's the drill?
TikTok, kind of, even though it's
TikTok.
Not, but yeah, TikTok.
So think about TikTok. All they do is they scroll. So the attention span that we've seen at events or weddings is that we've had to morph into not playing a whole song.
You were telling me.
Yeah.
So not playing a whole song and then saying, okay, what do you want to do next? And there's still a place for that in country. If you're a headlining artist and if these are your songs, then yeah. But in the music that we play, the cover band, the top 40, trying to bring a party to these people who are there only to party. That's what you do at a wedding or a corporate event. You're there to party, right?
Drinking party.
Yeah. So having that mentality when we're rolling through songs, we only play a verse and a chorus and maybe a bridge, and then we roll into the next one. So it never stops, because if you think about it, that's what kids are doing when they're on TikTok. They're just scrolling. So their attention span is so short. You can watch it in their face. If you're playing a song and they don't know the verse, all they know is the chorus, they'll look at you like you got 12 eyes.
Yeah.
And then when the chorus comes on, the champagne flows,
Yeah.
So
So yeah, I guess that makes sense. And I think you were telling me a while back that y'all went from doing like 40 or 50 songs to now it ends up being like 100 or something. Like, what
Oh,
was it?
yeah.
Like,
So
because of that, it
in a
increased the
two
number
in a
of
in a
songs.
2-hour set, we'll do 90 to 110 songs.
And this is ebb and flowing through.
Yeah.
Okay.
So lining it up with BPMs and key signatures and things like that. What are the chunks is what we call them. How do we move through that seamlessly?
That's a lot of music, bro.
It is a lot of music.
To remember, like, watching a band always blows my mind. So I'm like, how are y'all all in sync for all these different change ups? And I can't picture it.
Click track.
What does that mean?
It's a metronome.
Oh, metronome.
Yeah.
Y'all all have that?
I do. I absolutely love playing with a metronome. I didn't like it before, but man, it's just the coolest feeling is when you're playing in a musical setting with a click track. You don't always, not everybody uses a click track, but when you are using a click track, the greatest, I guess, like pat on your back you can get is when you don't hear the click track anmore. So that means you're so
In the
on
zone.
it.
Yeah.
You don't hear it anymore because you're that on it, and that's just affirmation that you're locked in.
And I always compare it to like the visual. You know how I use a reference?
Mm-hmm.
You know, most artists use a reference, but you know you're locked in when you're not even, this is not even a thing anymore. Sometimes I'll turn it off. I'm just like, I already know where I'm at with it.
Right.
And you're just kind of in the flow.
Right, because you can see what you've been looking at. You can see it on that canvas.
That's fire.
Yeah,
That's fire.
Parallels. How much are tickets?
$100, and it's an all-inclusive ticket. So we've got 10 food vendors.
Ooh, that's all you gotta say.
Yeah, 10, look, and
Y'all have mestizos?
yeah, we have mestizos.
Okay.
We got mestizo. I don't remember all of them off the top of my head, and I apologize. But Trey Street Kitchen, Jolie Pearl,
Good.
Town Square Pizza, Unique Cuisine, Crown Plaza, Mestizos, Supper Club. Supper Club is bringing some
Been to Supper
Wagyu.
Club yet?
Oh man,
I haven't.
Pretty good, bro.
You're gonna have some supper club on Friday when you come to MPAC.
So
It's pretty good.
Yeah. It's,
the biggest thing is the Wagyu, right? That's what they're mainly known for.
Really?
well, so they
Brussels sprouts.
everything at.
Does it have
at-
tasso in it?
Brussels sprouts?
A lot of people put tasso in the
Really?
I don't know.
I feel like it doesn't.
Okay.
But it's really good, though.
Everything, and they have these little grilled cheese dumplings. It's like a fried grilled cheese in a little spoon with tomato basil soup, and it's just like an appetizer. Oh my gosh!
So now I gotta go back.
See, now you're making.
Going down Friday.
We do it. They're not bringing that. They're just doing sliders. But I highly recommend all of the vendors that are participating. All the food's going to be great. LaBerge is providing drinks and beverages.
Oh, yeah?
And speaking of music, about one of my favorite things that we're doing is like we're taking a trip through the years for MPAC. So we're basically starting in the 1940s. So Mike Esnault, who y'all both know, a great musician. He has put together a 17-piece big band. So think like Glenn Miller, think Count Basie, think Frank Sinatra, all that stuff. And we've got two vocalists, Victoria Cave and Wendell Woods. Y'all know Wendell Woods?
No.
He sings in Fat Hat. He's outstanding.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I know what you're talking about.
He's great. So we do that in the beginning part, and then DJ Ari Spins, who I'm really excited for. When we played at Championship Square for the Buccaneers game, Saints in Tampa, she was the DJ on stage, and she is just a lot of energy.
Yeah.
And so we've got her for the latter part. So you think like 1940s to current is kind of the trip we're going to take as we progress through the evening.
That's dope.
I had a question, and this is a question me and my wife debate over all the time.
Oh, great.
I need to know a person who is in a band. I didn't hear your opinion.
Okay.
So when it comes to an event, specifically maybe a wedding, and I know you might be biased in this, what do you think is a better time, having a band or having a DJ? A really good band or a really good DJ?
Oh, man.
I'm a big DJ guy. I love a good DJ.
I love a good DJ too, but I think look, if you can do both, why not?
Ideally,
so why can't you have a DJ when the band takes a break?
Because I'm broke.
Well,
Because I'm broke.
let's say money's no option.
But if money's no option, I would ideally, the best weddings I've been to, I've had both.
Yeah.
Had both. Like the Lamar party where you have the DJ in between, which
Right.
you guys were doing.
Right,
It's
right,
always ideal.
Right.
But I know some choose one or the other, and I've seen people go, no, the DJ is where you gotta go, and I've heard people go, no, you gotta have a band.
I mean, it's all about personal preference,
Sure.
and it's all about budget too. I mean, you've got more mouths to feed in a band,
And the
You got-
band itself too, right?
Yeah.
Like, I've heard bands that I can tell are good, but I'm just like, I just don't vibe with it as much,
Right.
maybe. So I guess all of that kind of play, and the
Well,
personality of the
And the
DJ.
audience, too.
And absolutely, and the audience, and you think a DJ, if a song's not going well, or if it's like, ooh, that one kind of flopped, you can just cue up the next song. But a band, you got to coordinate, 8 to 10 people. Like, all right, we're gonna go to the next song,
Yeah.
because they're not digging this.
True.
I mean, a band, intermission, DJ, back to a band,
Yeah,
would be most ideal.
absolutely.
I mean, if you're spending $30,000 on catering, you can afford
Oh,
the band and the DJ.
Right.
yeah, man. I tried to have that at my wedding. I tried to have Wild Wayne at my wedding. Man. You know Wild Wayne in New Orleans?
From New
You know
Orleans?
who that is? Famous DJ, man.
Really?
Yeah, real famous. Honestly, he wouldn't be bad to bring out here, maybe.
We were gonna do
Really good personality.
what's the guy's name? Jubilee.
Oh,
We've done some stuff with Jubilee in
DJ
New
Jubilee?
Orleans.
for Impact?
Yeah, I was thinking about it. I was like, but man,
That would be fire.
do you know how weird it is to see?
He's a good guy too, bro.
Oh, he's such a sweetheart.
Really good
But
guy.
it's so interesting to see the people that don't know Get It Ready in
That's
Baton
wild.
Rouge versus the people that know that song. What's the name of your school? Is it Mount Carmel?
Yeah.
Is it
Is-
all that
yeah.
stuff? That
They
wasn't
don't know
really.
the song, or they don't know the person who created it.
Either.
I don't think they know either.
Really?
Yeah,
You
when
know
you
how old that is?
when we
Yeah,
play
but I
when we
thought
play in New
It's a
Orleans,
national
It's-
Louisiana
Orleans, yeah.
treasure.
man,
New Orleans knows.
in New Orleans, everybody knows, what's the name of your school, shout out your school, blah, 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 blah. When you do that here.
When I was 5.
Yeah, when you do that here in Baton Rouge, people are like, I don't think I know that.
And I think it also ties into because that part in particular, and also everything else he's saying in that ties to New Orleans in different ways.
Correct.
Every single thing he says, like you cannot. If you're from New Orleans, you cannot. It may sound like nonsense,
Right.
But then again, been learning this since I was 5. And I didn't know a lot of it until I'm listening to some of the younger girls who know every single dance, every single part.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, and so it connects in that way to if you're from New Orleans.
Right.
And the schools are all New Orleans schools, so
right.
that makes sense. But yeah, it is a song that went outside of New Orleans, but yeah, I can see how in Baton Rouge, especially at a certain age, like if you're 20, it's like, who's DJ Jubilee?
But you know what's weird too is that we played a debutante ball 2 weeks ago.
In New Orleans?
Yeah, in New Orleans at the Civic Theater. And we walked up to the 3 debutantes and we said, what do you want to hear? These 18, 19 years old. We want to hear stuff from the early 2000s.
All right now.
Really?
That's dope.
I mean, Creed is coming back. They said Creed made more money in 2024 because their song Higher was becoming popular.
It's like, can I get you higher?
There you go. I guess Mike's playing at MPAC.
I do like Creed. It
But
was funny.
they said
you asked me about top 5s. I'm like, oh, I'm a shock Michael.
Yes.
I'm not going to shock you at all. I can tell you that much. We're talking about top 5 albums after this.
Top 5 albums or top 5 bands?
Albums. Well, I mean, I guess it could.
Who's your top 5 band?
Yeah, who's your top?
Or top 5 drummer.
Oh man. Okay, well I'm gonna have to answer both. So, and y'all look, I'm gonna throw you for a loop. You ready? So top 5 albums. Let's go with artists because I'm not remembering the names of the albums. So Cameo.
Ooh, nice.
With I can't remember his name off the top of my head. He just passed away recently, but he played with Justin Timberlake as well. He was an outstanding drummer. John Blackwell.
Okay.
I'm going to say Al Jarreau Live in London is an album that I just absolutely love. That's Ricky Lawson on drums.
Yeah.
Again, you're going to laugh at me. I've been listening to a lot of Carpenters recently.
Really?
Yeah, I love the Carpenters. Hal Blaine.
They got some bops, bro.
Yeah, they really do. And Karen Carpenter was an amazing drummer.
Sad.
Yeah, very sad.
Yeah.
And then this, I don't know how many, was that 3?
That was 3, yeah.
Let's say.
That's some good stuff, man.
I mean, I love anything David Foster produced. I love David Foster. So from Chicago to Whitney Houston to Celine to Michael Bublé to all. I mean, if you haven't seen his documentary, highly recommend it. And then New Age, I would say one of my favorite albums or artists that I'm listening to is a band called The Strike.
The Strike, is that what you put on that? That 80s
it's like
synth?
it's like an 80s synth.
Mm-hmm.
There's another band called The Midnight, or maybe it's just Midnight. But anyway, there's that whole real like Simmons, Lindrum sound vibe coming. It's making a comeback, and I love that kind of. It's really cool.
What about The Weeknd, man? We've been talking.
Oh man,
put me on that live album. Have you heard that?
No.
Live at SoFi Stadium.
It's good.
Is it the Dawn FM? Is it? Yeah, it's from that album.
Yeah.
Bruh. You said that? That was like one of my top albums after that.
I know.
That year. It's
Wait,
so
really?
good. Yeah.
The live?
He is really.
I like The Weeknd.
Really, but that band is really.
The band's killer. The band
really,
is so killer.
And like if you like The Weeknd and you like some of his older stuff, the way they
replicate it, it's got a live, it's got a different impact to it.
I think I prefer the older stuff. I prefer like
and I was
House of
saying that some of the older
Balloons,
stuff
Trilogy era.
sound really good on that he went back to. I like his new stuff though, man.
Snarky Puppy.
Snarky Puppy is good.
And what's interesting, so are you familiar with Larnell Lewis, the drummer? He was a drummer. He is maybe still currently or was one of the drummers for Snarky Puppy. His brother Ricky Lewis is the drummer for The Weeknd.
Really?
Oh yeah.
And
we could do a whole podcast about drumming. You just call me up.
For real. I need to know more, man. I love drums.
Yeah.
I guess.
Who's your top?
My top what? I'm about to say I don't have my top what?
Whatever you asked me, my top.
Top five? You want to talk about the top five right now?
I mean, you might as
Yes,
well.
top five.
Yeah.
So we're doing the top 5 albums.
You wanted to do top 5 albums of 2024 or
I want to
all
do top.
time?
I want to do your personal top 5. That's what I was talking about.
Of 2024?
Of your life.
Of my
I would
life?
tell you this.
Ooh.
I have my top 5, but I did a top 5. But I did my 5 as like 5 albums to like. If you ask me, hey, what's an album that describes you as a person? I did that, but I did it for like when I was a kid, high school.
Oh, okay.
college.
So you did eras.
I did eras of just like what was I listening to, what was my favorite, because for me, top 5 overall was hard.
Yeah.
It's
But, like,
extremely
personally.
hard.
It's very when it depends on the mood that you're in. Like you
Right.
call me tomorrow, I'm gonna say 5 different albums.
Exactly.
That's true.
I can tell you I'll take my top 5 albums, like the way I just said it. Want me to go through those?
Yeah.
So, for my childhood, it's Tears for Fears, The Hurting.
Really?
What? When's the last time you listened to that album?
Yesterday.
Really?
I pulled up here.
Really? Mm-hmm. Oh wow.
Fire album.
I was listening to it when I pulled
If
up
you want to
yesterday.
hear my childhood in an album, listen to
Okay.
Yeah, but it's dope though. And I will also say a caveat to that also is anything Cash Money,
Oh yeah.
they were literal superheroes to me when I was a kid.
Absolutely.
If you listen to Wayne and Turk, that was me.
I like that
So-
Guerrilla
the same-
Warfare album.
That was a great album.
Lights Out Funny was my first
I love that album.
full album that I listened to, like from like anybody, like that Lights Out Lil Wayne album.
Wait, did you say Cash Money or did you say
Not No Limit.
No Limit?
No,
No.
Cash
So,
Money.
are you a No Limit fan?
I am. My aunt actually used to sing for No Limit with Mia X.
Really?
My
Okay.
aunt can play piano. And
Okay.
sing. She went to NOCA. A lot of people in my family went to NOCA. They're all
Oh, cool.
artsy.
There's a really cool. I'm sorry to interrupt you. There's a really cool documentary about Master P on BET.
Really?
It's on YouTube. It's like, I want to say it's like almost 4 hours long, but it's fascinating.
That was my only tie to Baton Rouge. I never really came here, but because he was out here,
Yeah.
and my aunt would come out here,
Yeah.
a lot. So that was the only thing I knew about Baton Rouge was Master P was out here.
Right.
So anything Cash Money though, you listen to any song, Juvenile is literally my uncles and my dad. That's how they talk. That's them. Turk, Wayne, that was literally me.
Right.
Everything he was talking about, it was literally me. For all the good and the bad.
Right.
Take what you will. So after that, it's so I have The Hurting, I have anything Cash Money is around that age. Late Registration, Kanye West.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay.
That was the only album I had during Katrina on my CD player. So I just listened to that loop.
Wow.
And the parallels to what we were going through with
Yeah.
that album, life changing. The Cool by Lupe Fiasco,
Great album.
life changing. Inspires a lot of my work. That Macabre.
Interesting.
Have you ever heard that?
It's a
Man.
great album.
It's a great story. He
Okay.
personifies cool, like being cool,
Yeah.
into like this zombie gangster drug dealer. Right. The Streets is a woman with like green eyes and like her chest is tatted with all her former lovers of like Leo the Great.
Oh, wow.
And Genghis Khan. Like so it's
Yeah.
like, and he kind of talks about that, and then The Game is like, he talks about just like the evils of the world, but he personifies it into a person. So he's like rapping as
Right.
evil.
Oh wow.
And so yeah, it's a whole album.
Well, now I got
It's-
something to listen to on the way to the gig tonight.
Listen to that. That shit will blow your mind.
That's cool.
Also, I have Mr. Morale is something more recent by Kendrick. Like where he's at in that place is kind of where I'm at like now. So that was very life changing to me. So that's what 1, 2, 3, 4. What am I missing? Oh, and Blonde by Frank Ocean. Yeah, you've heard of Blonde before?
That's a good 5.
Have you heard Blonde?
I haven't. You know, I haven't listened to. I'm more fascinated with Frank Ocean's story
Then yeah.
than the music. I haven't listened to any of the albums.
Man, Blonde was... So the reason I always say Blonde is number one, it was the first album where I think I listened to it and it was the first time I didn't know what to expect from an R&B artist.
Right.
and he's singing, and some of the arrangements that he had were very like, it's very industrial, which is weird from like a Frank Ocean. If you listen to Channel Orange, where he got his Grammys for, very more straightforward R&B. This, it's like one of those albums that it came out in 2016. You can tell the influences it had on R&B after that.
Oh, cool.
And for me, with Frank Ocean in particular, it's how he expresses love is very authentic. Like, I've never heard anybody sing about being in love with someone or just being infatuated with someone. The way he says it and expresses it in his voice. So Blonde for me was right around the time me and my wife were like about to get married. So it just kind of, I was in that space, you know, the throes of love and what that means.
Right.
Unrequited love. It's like, does she love me as much as I love her? So that album.
Forever.
Yeah. And it's like he has like one song called Self-Control. Like, if you're going to listen to anything from the album, listen to that.
Okay.
And there's just like parts of where he's not even, you can tell it's like distorted vocals at certain parts. And it's just like the way he's hitting the notes in there is just, I don't even know, you can't explain. It's not even words. He's just like saying sounds. But it sounds like I'm in love with this person and this person doesn't love me as much.
Interesting.
Which is like,
That's horrific.
It is, but it's like it's like this.
It's horrific.
It's like a
Jesus.
It's like an agony he puts in there with being in love. Of like, you know, that early parts of love, right?
Right.
We're all in love. We've been in love before, right? Where it's like, it's a push-pull, right? Where it's like you're trying to get into this other person's mind. Don't even talk about if you've had your heart broken before. Now it's like, all right, I'm trying to figure out these flags. And this person's saying these things, and they're doing all the right things. And maybe it's insecurity from me. So he travels around all of those beats. So those are my 5. Cash Money plus everything else.
That's kind of a cheat code. That's dope.
It is.
That's dope. I like that. I would have to say, I wouldn't categorize it like that, but there is this one MC from Canada, Chaos, K-O-S. And they put out an album called Exit.
Really?
I mean, this is probably 2002, 2003 maybe?
Really?
It's really fascinating. Really great storyteller, really good MC, really good lyricist.
It's rap?
Yeah, it's rap.
Okay. Which is always a good sign, right? It's like, it is rap,
Yeah,
but it's like, it's
But
doing some other
he
stuff.
raps.
Yeah.
That's probably the best way to say it. He raps. It's not the traditional rap, I guess, or mainstream style rap.
Rap ain't traditional.
And I saw the music video first, and the music video was so all elements of hip hop with b-boy dance, and the video was shot in like still frames, just all back to back to back to back. And I was like, I really like this. And I left
like this is an
and bought the
artist.
album that day.
Yeah,
That's
still
cool.
as artists I probably heard, and I just have to hear it, and I'm probably not putting the name to it. That sounds fascinating.
Another one I would probably say is Portishead.
Who is that? That sounds familiar.
I'm not familiar.
Portishead, it's a
I've heard the
band.
name.
They have an album called Dummy. I think that was the debut album. It's fire. It's dark, but it's about love, heartbreak. But the production is really, really, really moody. It's really good. Yeah.
You said Portishead?
Portishead.
That sounds familiar. Is that what's the genre for that?
Probably alternative.
Okay.
I guess now they would probably call it alt rock.
All right.
Yeah, alt rock, lo-fi, something like that.
Okay.
A third would be My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. I love that album. It's a really, really good album. I love all of the different album covers that George Condo did. So it's like 5 different album covers.
Ezra asked me about that the other day.
George Condo?
One note, that album cover in particular with the angel and the demon.
The Phoenix and
the Phoenix and the demon. Yeah.
Actually, what is it?
He was like, "What is that?" And I was like, that's just the album cover." He said, "What are they doing?" I was like, "You know what? We're gonna have to talk about
Let's
that
have a talk.
at a later date."
We're gonna table this discussion.
Yeah, we're gonna table it.
So what is that? 3?
Great album. That was
4.
one of my ones I was gonna add, but I was like, yeah, great. Have you heard the whole? You've heard that?
That's
I'm
a
saying
really good
this.
album.
It's probably one of the albums I will consider to be perfect. personally. There's not one part of that album that I'm like, he could have left that off.
Interesting.
Every
It's a
single
really
song.
good album.
Okay.
Every single song. It was the one that he came back after the Taylor Swift situation, and he had like a hiatus, and then he was in like Paris maybe, or he was somewhere in Europe, and then came back with that out of nowhere, and it was just, yeah. And then he went crazy, but.
What would be my 4 and 5? So all right. So when I'm ranking these, I'm ranking them based off if I was stuck with 5 albums for the rest of my life.
Right.
And then the next one would be a band called Franz Ferdinand.
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember.
Yeah,
that.
the debut album, self-titled Franz Ferdinand. I love that album.
That's a
like
fire
love
name.
that album.
That's a fire
You know who
name.
Franz Ferdinand is.
Yeah. Archduke?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fire name.
And then probably number 5 would be a new guy I just found out about called IDK.
IDK?
Yeah.
Oh,
He
why
has
does that
an
sound so
album.
familiar?
I think he's from Maryland.
Okay.
He's a rapper. It's a rap album, but he's the storyteller. But each one of the albums are like concept albums.
Really?
Okay.
Really, really good. And the most recent one, I was like, "Whew, man, this is a really good album." It's called Bravado and Intimo, I believe it's called. It's a really good album.
Okay.
Or anything Salt has produced since they've come out. SAULT.
Okay. That was the other album right there, Struggler, that I also had on there. That's a newer guy, Genesis Owusu.
I was thinking of a different Genesis.
But
I
nah,
like
he's
this
really
album
good.
cover.
You would like that. There's some real good drums on there.
Okay.
Yeah. Usually when y'all pass, then y'all start bopping your head in the headphones. It's probably that.
How they
Okay.
do it?
Bopping the head in the headphones. With the, what do you call it? The
Yeah, Mike's gonna have hearing damage because he listens to it so loud.
Oh, yeah, I already have it.
Huh?
I already have it. Yeah.
Oh, I had to. Man.
Yeah,
Come
no,
on.
dead ass. I went to get my checkup, and my doctor was like, "I don't see your eardrums." I said, "Huh?" I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, I don't know where they are. They're behind this tissue right here." I was like, "Huh?" I was like, "So what do I do?" She was like, well, "Tell me if you can." She's like, "Can you hear fine?" I
Can
was
you
like,
hear what I'm saying right
Yeah,
now?
for the most part, But
Wow.
this ear is definitely not as great as this ear. I can
Interesting.
definitely hear that.
Interesting. My wife suffers from the same thing with hearing loss or a little bit of hearing loss in one side versus the other. Because if you see a lot of musicians play with in-ears, so they're custom molded, or they don't have to be. They can be universal fit or they can be custom molded, but that isolation protects you from the stage volume, and you're not having a floor monitor that's just blasting at you.
Yeah.
Because over time, your ears are going to start to attenuate as the show goes on, and then you finish and everything's quiet and it rings like crazy. But a lot of people have a bad habit of taking one ear out and leaving one ear in. And so now you're exposing this ear to higher sound pressure levels than this one. And so it's naturally going to start to attenuate. Then you can't hear. Then you sing louder or you play harder so that, so that it's the same. So
Have you heard his wife sing?
She sings in. Yes, I have, but I can't remember the band.
After Eight.
After 8.
Yep.
Another Live After 5. I didn't know it was your wife though.
Yeah.
No, just
So that's where
sing.
funny story, that's where we met because I played with After Eight for 10 or 11 years. And we met in the band.
This,
All right now.
this guy has
I told you, it's a drumline story.
this guy has
They
a
met, look.
rich history.
Yeah. And then about
Stop calling you
6...
Nick Cannon.
Please don't. How many kids you have?
Please don't.
I was just about to say, cut.
All right. Do you sync? There you go. There you go.
No, I'm kidding. But yeah, and then about 6 years ago, I left and went to the Mixed Nuts. So
Okay.
music, I mean, obviously is a very important part of my life.
You know what I like is when I see, or not when I see, but I think when most people see you or Mike E. or Luke or anyone who just executive level that works here, they don't envision the story or the personality behind what they see, or you all's history of what you've done in the art scene
Yeah.
Yeah.
for years. And I wish more people knew that. Like, I wish more people knew, like, oh, you know he's a drummer. Oh, you know the name of his band? He has the weirdest name of the band. It's like Nick's Nuts. or it's like, they're actually human. They're not these figures that are sitting in the sky that are, controlling policy of what happens with art. Usually it's advocating for it.
Yeah.
So just that human level, I
Right.
wish more people knew. But I love Luke's story.
Oh, Luke's got a great story. I actually met Luke when he was working with the Walls Project, or he was doing an independent thing, and he said, you remember the old Bogan Fire Museum? Mm-hmm. They had these stairs that were so narrow and like vertical, a historical building. They weren't code.
Yeah.
I mean, they were dangerous. And Luke said, I need a stage on the second floor. And I said, well, we've got these 4x8 sheets of staging. I don't know how you're going to do it, but if you can get them up there, you can use them. And so this dude went up, we called them the death stairs, because if you fell, you would die. With a 150-pound piece of staging that he's like piece by piece going up each step, and then he would rotate it and go, dude, that's dedication. That was my first encounter with Luke.
Discipline.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it's what it takes, especially from an artistic standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, the show must go on.
Being an artist, but then the business of art. Mm-hmm. Speaking, is the Arts Council in the business of art, or do you think the Arts Council is in the, I guess, kind of advocacy or resourcefulness of art? Like, what's the model?
Well, I mean, if you look at our mission, advocacy, resources, teaching, and training. So I wouldn't say we're in the business of art. I'd say we're more in the advocacy. And I mean, we're sitting in a giant resource that we have that we didn't have before. I mean, we had a beautiful building before, but we didn't have the amenities there that we have here and the opportunity. We only had one big gallery. We had the fire museum downstairs, and we had administrative offices. We didn't have a black box or an artist studio or recording studio, anything like that, a rooftop. So I would say we're more so in that advocacy, the core values that we focus on in our mission. Because that's what, the mission is what drives us to meet with this person for advocacy, or to have an event here as a resource, or to create a program that teaches and trains individuals to enter the workforce as an artist or as a, whatever their medium is. Right. And we're not the experts. I mean, we try to bridge the gap between people. We're not the teachers of all. We try to find the people that are most qualified to teach, to then teach the people that want to learn.
The conduit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I say filter sometimes, where I'm like, they have the knowledge, is just trying to filter it out to the people who need it the most.
Yeah, and sometimes that's one of the biggest struggles, is trying to get that information out, because a lot of the times we feel like we're talking to ourselves. Because the way that the world works now with social media and AI and algorithms and all this stuff, if you don't pinpoint the algorithm perfectly, your message gets lost.
It's an attention economy. Like it has to be something that, like you said, like the attention spans are so short.
You got to grab somebody in that first couple
seconds.
How
to grab that, and algorithms, if your content is not doing that, it's just thrown wherever. So you have to be diversified in how you're reaching the million people in Baton Rouge and greater parts of the state also. So,
yeah,
it's important.